I've just got back from seeing CGS Mike and Lewis from LT Custom Guitars, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to tell you a bit about 42 Gear Island and share some of my experiences. A big part of the reason that I'm making this video is that Mike couldn't be there as was originally intended, so I just wanted to kind of document some of it, not to show him what he missed out on, but because he's such a massive part of this community, I just wanted to do what I could to include him, so hopefully you enjoy this as well. So the quick version is Andy stood up on a boat, Carlos climbed a tree, Colin did science, obviously, I may have killed somebody, and Ryan hates me. So on the 29th of January, I left my home and my family at 4 AM and began a 3-day journey to a private island in the Philippines that Henning had rented for a few weeks so that 10 guitar YouTubers could come and make guitar videos and drink cocktails. My brother gave me a lift to Heathrow where I had to get a flight to Singapore, then another to Cebu in the Philippines. Door to door, I was travelling for about 26 hours, and that was just to the meeting point. We still had a day or more travelling to do before even getting to the island. After another flight and Airbnb stay, we travelled in a van for 5 hours along the bumpiest and windiest roads I've ever seen, swerving around dogs and small children. I travelled in the van with Andy and Perfecto, and they were kindly imparting all kinds of knowledge and wisdom, but little did they know I was holding back with everything I had until I couldn't hold back anymore, and I just threw up everywhere in the most dramatic way possible in front of them, and it was for a good while as well. So that was pretty embarrassing. I'm sure somebody probably has footage of that as well. When we got to the island, the first thing that I thought was, the pictures of this place looks unbelievable, but it looks so much more impressive in real life. Pictures just didn't do this place justice. So I was planning on showing you some footage from my phone that I filmed, but I filmed it using this new gimbal, but I used the gimbal app that came with it, and it filmed it at 30 frames per second instead of my normal 25. Boring, nerdy camera stuff. Basically, the footage would look horrible in this video, but luckily, Henning took loads of drone footage, so I'm going to use some of that instead. So thank you, Henning, for saving my video. The seawater was just the clearest I've ever seen. It was like tap water. Unfortunately, it didn't taste like tap water, as I found out when Henning tried to kill me. He capsized my 2-man kayak, and he'll tell you that it was me, but he's lying. Luckily, everyone jumped in and helped us get the kayak and ourselves back to the shore, and no one was killed. No thanks to Henning. And speaking about Henning liking to kill things with water, I know I said no one was killed, but that's only true in terms of humans. We arrived with 3 drones and a load of DJI pocket cameras. We returned with the same amount of cameras, but just less working cameras. Tom managed to drown his drone on what I think was its first outing on the island. Henning managed to kill his drone when he reversed it into a giant rock, which knocked it straight into the water. I'm kind of surprised it lasted as long as it did, though, because we witnessed him attempting to destroy it on quite a few occasions, including one time resorting to kicking it towards the sea from a moving boat. I think he also broke a DJI Pocket 2 in the water as well. So Henning made a vlog about this, so keep an eye out for this thumbnail to find out more about it on his channel. The accommodation was really nice. Some even came with outside showers and bathrooms. Mine came with an inside gecko that liked to chirp in the middle of the night just to make sure you were still alive. One night, Ryan, who was sharing a room with Andy above me, woke up screaming because he thought a giant bird had invaded his room. It turns out it was just a gecko chirping away. So I mentioned the geckos. geckos, but the wildlife just in general was amazing. Like starfish everywhere you look. I think Colin and Carlos saw some sharks. A few of us saw some giant sea turtles. We thought the geckos were pretty cool, but that was until we saw these huge monitor lizards. Most of them were about 2 to 3 feet long, but it turns out they can reach up to about 6.5 feet. The staff were just brilliant. They had a really good sense of humour and seemed to really enjoy being around us idiots. So Martin and Flora are the owners of the island, and they would spend time alongside us. They were very welcoming and fun to be around. We couldn't have hoped for better hosts and staff. So we get like a sheet of paper after dinner each day where we had to write down what we'd like for breakfast the next morning. And on the first night, Henning wrote pancakes, so when he wasn't looking, I added plus penis, of course. So this became a thing. And on the last day, the staff really did give us pancakes and penis. It just shows their sense of humour, but I'm not going to lie, it was a difficult one to consume. The gear was perfect. Henning did an amazing job selecting what would work for our videos. Engel sent 2 Iron Ball SEs, which are, in my opinion, some of the best featured and most well thought out amps out there right now. Every feature and option is useful, but doesn't give you anything you don't need. Yamaha sent a couple of wireless pod goes, and as a user of Helix stuff, this suited me really well. Sweetwater, along with sending loads of useful bits like strings and straps and cables and stands, also sent 2 Bose S1 portable speakers, which were ideal for monitoring the pods. Walrus Audio sent what seemed to be their entire line of pedals. It was my first experience with Walrus pedals, but I've heard so much about them, and they have such a great reputation. They sounded amazing and they were built like tanks. I'm really looking forward to checking out more of their stuff in the future. Mono sent out a load of gig bags and pedal boards. And what's there to say, really? I think that it's generally accepted that although they're expensive, they make just the best gig bags in the world by far. And it turns out that their new pedal boards and power supplies are just as high quality and well thought through. Sennheiser provided loads of mics, from crazy high-end stuff to wireless lapel mics and everything in between. I use a Sennheiser shotgun in my studio for my dialogue audio for YouTube videos. This is the 600 MKE and it's never let me down. I think it sounds really good. Lastly, Harley Benton provided all the guitars, and it's a really good choice because they do such a wide range of guitars. It was guaranteed that everyone was going to be covered and happy. We all had quite different styles and preferences, but Harley Benton had it all covered, from offsets to metal style Amaroks and fusions, hollow bodies, and of course the Strat. I can't really talk about a lot of the Harley Benton guitars because quite a few of them aren't being released for another month or so, but keep checking their site, because if you like Harley Benton guitars, you're probably going to want to check out one of these new models. And something I did notice was I lost a lot of plectrums or picks on the island. I don't mind, I bought a load before going to it, so I knew it was going to happen, but when I don't use a very obscure pick, it's a bit weird. I use these clear yellowish Dunlop 1.14mm Ultec sharp picks, and I've never really come across any other people using them, but the strange thing was that the more I lost on the island, the more other people on the island seemed to be 1.14mm Ultec sharp users as well. And who knew it was such a common plectrum? I made about 10 videos, or maybe a bit more, and I was involved with another 10 or so videos, but much more importantly to me, I was thrown way out of my comfort zone, and I made some really good friends and experienced things that I never thought I would have. So thank you so much, Henning. And one good thing is that making videos in this kind of environment with other people that understand what goes into a video is the kind of level of professionalism and respect that you can expect from other YouTubers while you're making your videos. If we've learned anything over the last couple of days,
I do not have the mango.
Oh, hey, Jake!
Great video, Jake.
Oh, what a video that was. Have you subscribed yet? Why not?
Subscribe.
Subscribe right now. Click it. Click it. What about
Click it.
Don't click it.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Bye, Ray.
and that's the end of the video. Goodbye.
What's going on?
Oh, I tuned in.
What's happening?
I hope you enjoy.
With the exception of Tonio, who was brilliant, who had been invited to come and film vlogs and keep things running as smooth as possible, I had by far the smallest channel, so I'm still in shock that I was even able to be involved in this kind of thing. The next smallest, I think, was Andy Ferris. I say smallest, but his channel was still over 40 times as big as mine. So, and the biggest by far was Carlos, who has a Spanish-speaking channel. He has nearly 4 million subscribers. And being out of my league and way out of my comfort zone in so many ways, I can honestly say that everybody made me feel so welcome. Everyone was quick to share advice, give encouragement, and explain things that have probably taken them years to figure out for themselves. So I do want to give a quick rundown of everyone that was there, just to show a bit of appreciation, really. First of all, Henning, obviously, he's the person who makes these events a reality. And I really think that he's the one who kickstarted this whole trend of in-person get-togethers. He showed it was really possible. Thanks to him, you've got 42 Gear Street, but also smaller events like CGS Mike's British Boutique Guitar Festival here in the UK and Ryan's Guitar House. I can't thank Henning enough, but if I could see a bit less of his penis next time, that would be just fine. Perfecto was integral in terms of planning and logistics of this huge project. It turns out that he has a guy for everything, so as well as being an incredible guitar player, he's also like a Filipino Ray Donovan. He's got a person for everything. He's an unbelievable player, and he's the first person I met at 42 Gear Street last year and really put me at ease from the start, so massive thanks to him. I really enjoyed hanging out with him. Colin is someone I was excited to get to know better. I've been watching his channel for years. We came across each other briefly at 42 Gear Street. He's very funny, very quick, and spending time with him is always fun. Tom is probably the person I felt I knew best, having spent a good amount of time with him at Gear Street last year. He's definitely the most laid back and cool person out of the group. He gave me loads of ideas and advice, and I'm really glad that he came. Glenn is just a really nice version of what you see on camera, but maybe he doesn't want you to know that, so don't tell him I told you. We had the heavier music connection, which was cool, and he's full of really interesting stories. Carlos, I can't even think about Carlos without laughing. He's really funny, maybe sometimes unintentionally, but it must have been a really big deal for him to be there with English being his second language. But communication was never an issue. He's always full speed and works really hard. It's no surprise that he's as successful as he is. Ryan, of course, was the entertainer, but we had some really good chats as well. He passed on loads of knowledge and advice. He's also a much better guitarist than he lets on in his videos. I even stole some ideas from him, but he doesn't need to know that. I already kind of felt like I knew Andy and Ryan too, actually, from watching their channels for years. And Andy kindly had me on his podcast just before Christmas last year. He really helped me feel part of it and like I deserved to be there. Always encouraging and full of great advice. We all wished that Mike could have made it as originally planned, but it just wasn't possible at the time. We all missed him so much, and everybody is really looking forward to covering the next British Boutique Guitar Festival whenever he gets it back up and running again with Lewis from LT Custom Guitars. By the sounds of it, you might need a bigger tent mic. By the end, I was pretty exhausted, and me, Ryan and Tom left. The others went on for a meet and greet in Manila for about another day or so, and then Glenn, Henning and Carlos went to Japan to check out their incredible guitar shops and Yamaha's factory for about another week. So keep an eye out on their channels for even more content from beyond the island. I know this has probably gone on for much longer than it needed to be, but thank you again, Perfecto and Henning, for creating this amazing experience, and thank you everyone else for welcoming me into your group without making me feel like an outsider or the new guy. Now I've got about 40 gear videos waiting to be made, so I better get back to work. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, firstly, what is wrong with you? Secondly, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.